Big South Conference football enters the 2009 season with growing expectations and the goal of gaining an at-large playoff berth for the second time in league history. The conference's football members will collectively play a record 8 football bowl subdivision programs in 2009, as well as compete against the upper echelon of the football championship subdivision, all while vying for the Big South Conference title. Now we preview the 2009 Big South football season in the predicted order of finish. Presbyterian College will be an official conference opponent in 2009, though the Blue Hose will not be eligible for the Big South Football Championship until 2011. Still, new head coach Harold Nichols hopes to build on the program's impressive wins over Big South members Liberty and Coastal Carolina in recent years. PC welcomes back experienced quarterbacks Tim Webb and Brandon Miley. Webb threw for 1,428 yards and 9 touchdowns before a season-ending injury. Miley took over and amassed 1,728 passing yards with 8 TD strikes. Patrick McCoy is the most experienced receiver back in 2009. 6 starters are back on defense, with linebacker Chris Bowman headlining the returners. Bowman recorded 90 tackles last season, including 10.5 tackles for loss. Bo Tribble and Justin Bethel are also back in 2009 to anchor the secondary. The VMI Keydets welcome back 10 starters on an offense that led the Big South in scoring last year, as well as a record-setting rushing attack of nearly 4,000 yards on the ground. Head coach Sparky Woods inserted the electric Tim Maypray at quarterback last season, and Maypray responded with 1,266 rushing yards and 12 touchdowns from under center. Bruising back Howard Abgeza added 775 rushing yards to help VMI register the #1 ranked running game in the nation in 2008. The Keydets also returned Michael Rainey Wiles, giving VMI a formidable triple threat. The defensive side is just as experienced, with 9 starters back. Linebacker A.J. Gross led the squad with 67 tackles and 14.5 tackles for loss, while Bryant Youngblood was third with 59 hits. Up front, Patrick McKinney and Demiso Alexander will anchor the line for VMI. Charleston Southern tied for second in the conference a year ago, but the Buccaneers again find themselves in the number 5 slot in the preseason poll. 7th-year head coach Jay Mills will call on his 3rd starting quarterback in 3 years. That new QB will have junior Gerald Stevenson to throw to. Stevenson enjoyed a breakout season last year, earning first-team all-conference honors at both wide receiver and kick returner. He caught 45 passes for 551 yards and 9 touchdowns, and led the Big South with a 24.9-yard kickoff return average. Receiver Tim Jones is another deep threat for the Bucs. Antoine Ivey and DeMarcus Moon will lead the rushing attack in 2009. The defense needs to replace 7 starters, but returning to lead the squad in 2009 is team-leading tackler Andrew McCain, who set the pace last year with 74 stops and 8 tackles for loss. McCain will need the new Buccaneer starters to help step it up against a schedule loaded with offensive weapons this season. The Gardner Webb Runnin' Bulldogs want to be top dogs in the conference, returning 50 letter winners again in that quest. Predicted to finish 4th in 2009, Gardner Webb head coach Steve Patton has 10 starters back on both offense and defense to lead the charge. In addition to quarterback Stan Doolittle, running back Philip Peoples will be counted on to add to his 602 rushing yards and 6 touchdowns to pace the ground game. Rushers David Montgomery and Patrick Hall will get plenty of carries as well. Sophomore James Perry III caught 55 passes for 661 yards last year and is poised to be Doolittle's #1 target in 2009. Gardner Webb's defense remains mostly intact after leading the Big South in rushing defense last season. Headlining the group is junior linebacker Jeffrey Williams, a preseason All-American and official candidate for the Buck Buchanan Award after recording 119 tackles last season. Other top defensive returners include Jordan Woods and Marty Patterson, while standout linebacker Mario Brown returns after missing most of 2008 due to injury. Predicted 3rd in our annual poll is Coastal Carolina. Head coach David Bennett will call on 20 returning starters in trying to put the Chanticleers atop the Big South football perch after an uncharacteristic 5th-place finish a year ago. Leading the offense will be quarterback Zach McDowell, who completed more than 60% of his passes for more than 2,000 yards and 16 touchdowns. He also rushed for 238 yards and 5 scores. A talented young receiving corps will be at McDowell's disposal, including last year's top 2 receivers in Brandon Whitley and Markel Willis. Junior running back Eric O'Neal is looking for his breakout season in 2009. Coastal Carolina welcomes back one of the Big South's most experienced defenses, with 9 starters and 26 letter winners in the fold. Defensive lineman Philip Obo, linebackers Derek Frazier and Chris Walls, and defensive backs Brandon Autry and Keon Cunningham are all conference caliber players that helped the Chanticleers lead the Big South in pass defense in 2008. Big South Associate football member Stony Brook tied for second in the league last year, and with 15 starters back, head coach Chuck Priori's Seawolves are ready to bring the Big South football championship to the north. Stony Brook may have the top running back tandem in all of FCS, senior Conte Coutinho and sophomore Edwin Gowans. Coutinho rushed for 1,195 yards and 7 touchdowns, while Gowans burst onto the scene with a Big South freshman record 1,310 rushing yards. He also scored 11 touchdowns, averaged 9.4 yards per carry, and set the Big South single-game rushing record last year. Quarterback Dane Hoffman had a respectable first season on Long Island, throwing for 1,636 yards and 11 touchdowns. 4 of Stony Brook's 5 players with at least 50 tackles last season returned, including leading tackler Tyler Santucci. Santucci racked up 79 stops, 44 of which were solo tackles. Meanwhile, the Seawolves secondary returns Chris Richards and Corey Giddings for more highlights in 2009. Despite losing Jacksonville Jaguars draft pick Rashad Jennings, as well as quarterback Brock Smith and receiver Dominic Bolden, among many others, the Liberty Flames are predicted to win the Big South Football Championship again in 2009. Head coach Danny Rocco will call upon 48 letter winners and another set of FBS transfers to aim for a 3rd consecutive league title. Liberty's offense continued its onslaught last season, ranking 2nd in the Big South in scoring and 1st in total offense. Taking over the offensive duties will be Mike Brown and B.J. Hayes. The young duo provided glimpses of the future last season, with Hayes ranking 3rd on the squad with 194 rushing yards on just 18 carries, as well as finishing 5th on the team with 17 receptions out of the backfield. The defense will have new faces in 2009 with just 4 starters returning. However, defensive lineman Trey Jacobs is back after recording 40 tackles, 4 sacks, and 6 quarterback hurries. Defensive back Chris Rocco is the Flames' leading returning tackler with 78 stops a year ago. Linebackers Chad Brown and Patrick Bannon return as well and will be called upon to lead in 2009. Now it is time to kick off the 2009 season and begin the quest for the Big South Football Championship. We wish all the teams the best of luck in 2009 and look forward to Saturday, November 21st, when a new Big South football champion is crowned.